guys, welcome back to the Bucket Think Tank. So, we last left off, we did The Life of Scrooge, Last the Clan McDuck. And I thought, well, we should do Match the Mississippi, but like, hold on, hold on. Let's do a bit of a twist here, but something different. Because as we all know, on the Rose Remarks podcast, they're doing The Life of Scrooge as well. And they're doing it differently than we're going to do it. So, let's emphasize that. So, we're going to break into this very hilarious little sort of tie-in, sort of other story going on uh, in the Life of Scrooge series, namely a retelling of how Scrooge got the number one dime. So if you recall with last issue with Last Clan McDuck, we found out that, Fergus had planned for Scrooge to earn the number one dime with help from Bert the Ditch Digger. All right? This explains more as to how that dime got to Fergus and how it got to Bert and everything. It really is a bit more interesting story, but so who would do that? Who would do something that stupid? Magica dispel. So, one day, one night, while having dinner with Donald and the boys, Scrooge decides to regale them with a story of how he got his number one dime. Well, rather, the boys requested it. And they're just sort of like, how'd you get it? He's like, well, I earned it. It's kind of simple. And he talks about how hard he worked, and when he was finished, he collapsed, and he got his first pay from his uh, first labor. And the boys point out this is an American dime. He lives in Scotland, and this to me is sort of like the weirdest part of the story. I'll never understand that myself. I'm like that I don't quite get what Scrooge is saying here, or even what the boys pointing out. But the boys are 10, and this is one of those stories where they aren't that bright. So who knows per se? Actually, going by the timeline of events, I would say they aren't the Junior Woodchucks yet. But anyway, while they're regaling the story, turns out Magica's watching, and she's being salty because, well, it's Magica. She's the bad guy, and bad guys are always salty when they watch the people they're trying to ruin having a good life. So Magica points out that she's the only one who knows the spell. All right, to simulate the Midas touch using Scrooge's number one dime to be able to recreate that in an amulet which will enable her to become fantastically rich. It's weird to me that as someone with magical powers, this is like all she'd come up with. But whatever. Not my job. I'm not the witch. So she's like, okay, so I've tried for years, but he's too crafty, too smart, too clever. He's he ain't stupid, is what I'm saying. Depending on the story. We're like, wait, that's it. An old Scrooge. This Scrooge is too experienced. He knows too much. But what if I get him when he's a stupid 10-year-old? That's right. I remember I got a time traveling candle that will send me back for 1 hour. I just got to put some stuff up here to sort of convince, sort of like narrow down where I want to go. So he takes out like a newspaper clipping, a picture of Scrooge, a glass, because Glasgow, like it's, there we go. So she goes back in time and she's in Glasgow. The year is 1877. All right. And so Magic is here, like, this is the Glasgow Scrooge shop. So she gets some proper duds and she gets in a coach and she's looking around. She meets this young wealthy, well, this wealthy American who's really trying to show off, like I'm one of them rich Americans you've heard so much about. Did you guys see that? Did sorry, new software. Can we do that again? Can we? Oh snap. Okay. We're gonna thank you. We're keeping this in. But anyway, so when this happens, then Madge is like, okay, gotta look here. She's totally not paying attention to this dude trying to show off. Like, what is okay? These kids here. What are these kids? All right, one of these kids could be Scrooge. All right, and the gentleman is like, well, you know what? I was no poorer than they were when I was that age. So he decides to toss him some coins. Goes through. Magica sees like, oh my god, that's it. So she jumps out and like, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? She snatches the coin like, this is it. I have held this coin in my hands for so long. This is it. It's Scrooge's number one dime. The lady under the little girl like, ma'am, that's our coin. Officer right there like, what was that? Little girl goes to Magic was like, okay, I can just buy the coin and we're good. So she goes in and they like, Papa, we found a coin. And Magica sees the dad like, she's like, it's Scrooge. I don't know how you found me. Like, ma'am. I don't know who you think it is, but Scrooge is my son. He's like 10 years old. And Magica's like, oh my God, it's his dad. And she's like, this is wild. Which like it shouldn't be surprising, but it is like what are the odds she'd meet his dad? So the young girl, it's Matilda, goes and says, like, "Sounds like Scrooge has been getting in trouble again." I'm like, again? What is young Scrooge been getting up to? Fergie's like, it seems so, but he just needs a focus, all right, something to uh, diver- uh, direct his attention and energies to, and this dime might be the key to it. Mac's like, hold on, so I'll give you £5 for that dime. No, £10. And Fred is like, it's tempting, ma'am, but my son's future is more important. And I'm like, I love Fergus. I do. Like, he's such a great character, just like the few stories we get him in. And Mag's like, hold on, I think I got something. I think I got something else. And we're like, I don't know. And she throws a food bomb at him. And Mag just sort of revels in the fact, like, yeah, it'd be interesting, interesting to know that, I've made a career of foof bombing his son. And like, and so, little chaos. Until like, she ran off with our coin. She's like, that's it. Fergie's like, I may be poor, but I have my pride. No one steals from a McDuck. And he's also like, you know what? I'd have definitely sold her that coin once she reached her top offer. Magica pushes the carriage driver down, takes the carriage, and Fergie's like, let's go. That lad should have known better than a fool with a member of the clan McDuck, especially when it's a matter of money. And it's an epic chase, or it would be a more epic chase, but we've only got so many panels, but I would really love to see this thing animated. If anything, it would remind me of, if you remember from the old original DuckTales cartoon, Raiders of the Lost Harp, when Scrooge chases Magica down the main street of Duckburg for the harp. It's a great episode. Raiders of the Lost Harp is one of my favorite DuckTales. But anyway. So the chase ensues. Fergus goes up there, so wrestles Magica down. A foof bomb goes into the carriage. The dude in the carriage is like, I just want to go back to America. And so they're down here, ruffled, messed up. Magic's like, you wouldn't dare lay your hands on Lady. Fergus like, you don't know me. As a gentleman, I will make sure your dress doesn't fall down. But I'm getting that coin. And so he grabs her up, shakes it out, and Magic's like, it's just a dime. What do you? What was all this for? And he, like, I love it. Like, Madam, pence make shillings and shillings make pounds. You always don't know any McDuck, so you wouldn't have asked that question. I love it. It is perfect. It is a great bit. But anyway, so imagine like my mistake. And little Hortense gives a little raspberry to it. Love it. It's one of the few times where Hortense's thumb isn't in her mouth. Now, Fergie's like, okay, so what do I do? What do I do with this dime? Matilda's like, Dad, that was so cool. So Fergie's like, I have to find a way to get this to Scrooge. You can't know it's me though. All right, I got it. I got it. He has to work, and I know a ditch digger. Bert, my man. Max is like, "Ugh, this is stressful. Because from Magic's perspective, it seems that everything is conspiring against her. The dime is on a set path, and there's nothing she can do to divert it. She can only help. So Magic thinks, well, maybe I can sort of twist it a bit here. So she goes to Bert, like, hey, you know what? Tell you what. I give you a shilling for that. It's worth more than a dime, and you also have some extra for you. There you go. See? Huh? Huh? He's like, fine, works out. I was like, I got it. I got it. There we go. So she goes off, she flips it and having fun. She fails to catch it. It's about to go down a grate. And what happens? A young man catches, like, ma'am, this is your coin? He's like, yes, thank you. And then he's like, I got a shoe shine kit. I'm trying to, make my own fortune. He's like, wait a minute. Are you Scrooge McDuck? Like, yes, I am, ma'am. And Matt's like, you, Scrooge McDuck, gave me this dime. She's enjoying it a bit too much. Might also be that it technically means that the dime is now set in her hand. like fate can't conspire against her because the coin has now reached Scrooge and is now gone to her, which is irrelevant. If the idea is that that dime just has to reach Scrooge, whatever happens afterwards is not part of that fixed point. We brought Doctor Who into DuckTales. Well, Doctor Who into Uncle Scrooge, to be precise. So Magic is feeling pretty good. Like, you know what? I'll just sit here and watch what happens. All right. So things go as necessary. Bert the ditch digger comes in, and Scrooge chisels the dirt off, and he cleans it, and cleans it about half hour's work. Scrooge collapses, and Bert's like, "Huh, all right, time for me to pay it out." Magic's like, "I'm running out of time. Is he gonna pay pay him?" Bert's like, "Hey, you know what? Peaches has a sale. You know what? I'll go. I'll go get Peachy. I'll go get the sale, and you know what? I'll buy Scrooge. I'll pay Scrooge back some other time." I'm like, oh, first of all, shame on you, Bert. Bert is now on my list. He used to be up here because the role he played. Now he's down here. You know, say what you want about God, Once Upon a Dime from the from the original DuckTales cartoon, but at least they paid him for that horrible shoe shining job. Oh, yeah, that hurt even to compliment. But anyway, Matt's like, oh, all right. I guess he'll have to get his number one dime some other time. And Matt's like, wait a minute. Wait, wait. What have I done? I have stopped Scrooge from earning the number one dime. If he doesn't earn the dime, he doesn't get the inspiration to become rich. This dime is now just a dime. The only way this dime will have any value now is if I give him the dime. And oh crap, we're running out of time. Dun, 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 dun. She's like, I could just cry. And so Scrooge comes to like, my dime, for my first real labor. And of course, as it would go through, what happens? Well, Scrooge realized, oh no, this is the dime, an American coin. That Sharpie cheated me. All right, and it goes through, I'll be tougher than the toughies and sharper than the sharpies, and I'll make my fortune square. And, you know, as you do. And, you know, so that led to, as Scrooge thinks this is the start of something big, does an impossible amount of wealth, a great future, being effectively the one driving force in the world economy. Like if Scrooge like whispers, I think the stock market just pauses to listen, but whatever. As Scrooge points out, this also helped inspire me to come to America, and here I am now. Scrooge thinks, I just wish I could thank whoever gave me this dime. Magica, saying a bad word, says he's welcome. And that's how the comic ends. Ultimately, this story is a fun little hey, here's how we got from point A to point B. Using Magica was a great way to do it because otherwise we'd have to be like, well, let's go back for no reason to see what happened. That's not interesting because otherwise, if you take Magica out of the story, then we're just watching a dime be thrown out of a carriage, picked up by Matilda, and given to Fergus. Then Fergus gives it to Bert, and there we go. It's not that interesting. I'm not working like a silent picture or uh, if we do like a silent story, even if you did a comic, I think better as a story, as like a little cartoon short, little animated short of the dime and its story with Scrooge, effectively. But that would have to be from this moment to you know him finally becoming the richest man in the world. Um, it's too much. This one here using magic, like, well, you know what? If I go back in time and mug a child, all of my problems will be solved. And lo and behold, it's not. It's not. Um, she's very bad at this. She doesn't quite understand time travel. And to be fair, no one ever really understands time travel. All right, except people that devote themselves to time travel. Had Doc Brown been here, he'd have been like, "Magic, it's not going to work." All right. Worst case scenario, you create an alternate timeline. All right, where that dime never exists, and because that dime is from that timeline, it doesn't have the same power. There you go. You just mugged someone who's not going to amount to anything. There you go. The MVP of this one is still the MVP from the last issue, Fergus. I think Fergus is such a great character. Um, and this is really, he only has four stories that where he's sort of a driving force. Five, actually. There'll be, of course, Last and Clan McDuck, this one, uh, the new laird of Castle McDuck, A Billionaire of Dismal Downs, and the old Letters from Home, or the Old Castle's Other Secret. And in that one, we sort of feel the presence of Fergus in Scrooge's life. Actually, also the Empire Builder from Calistoga. Pretty much, Fergus really only has a real sort of impression on the Duck universe through Rosa, and I think that's really great. But ultimately, this was a really fun story. It's nice to see Magica just sort of be a bit unhinged. Like, again, she doesn't quite realize how bad this is. She's not thinking through. She's too desperate to get this done. Something that's been consistent about Magica is that she gets a bit carried away. Whether it's the Barks comics that do it, Rosa, uh, both versions of the Ducktales cartoon show that Magica is effectively her own worst enemy. Where the Beagle Boys are too stupid and Glomgold is too evil to some extent, Magica gets too excited. All right, once she has an idea in her head, she just has to go, and she tends to not think about the consequences. Overall, though, again, a really fun issue. So anyway, with that in mind, this brings to a close here. If you're new about the painting, feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe. What'd you think of this setup? Like, we got a new computer, obviously, and early days, but I want to get this out because while you may not know when this came out, there's been like a 4 week, 3 to 4 week hiatus on videos, and I've been kind of driven mad. So anyway, we got a new setup and everything. So anyway, this is Buggy Thinking signing off. Thanks for watching. As always, may your fandom serve you well.